So, good evening, everyone. Uh, Thank you for coming. And today's talk from Dukkha to Sukkha, from suffering to happiness. But I don't know whether I can talk about. I could talk the reverse one, from Sukkha to Dukkha.
Yeah.
I can talk about how we can be, unhappy from being happy. So, talk about being unhappy state to happy state to unhappy. That's the part. I would like to start with a very short breathing exercise to kind of trying to bring our mind in moment present, and then trying to have a good intention for being here, and then we'll start the main topic of the today's subject. Okay. So try to make yourself comfortable and relaxed. Let your breath flow naturally. While you inhale and exhale normally, try to observe and watch mindfully the breath, and try to be aware of what you are observing. So it's simply just learning to observe with your breath and being aware of that. Once your mind is settled down and quiet in moment present, then we can think, may I ask coming here together to listen and to engage in discussions and reflecting, contemplating. May all of these become cause and conditions to come from our mind, our heart, by reducing those disturbing negative emotions, cultivating and increasing those healthy positive state of mind. It may be cause and condition to obtain our highest potential, the fully awakened state. So we can be greatest help and benefit to all other sentient beings as well as oneself. Okay, so I will kind of talk and discuss a little bit about the topic of today. And then at the end, I will have some time for questions. And if anyone has any questions. So again, it's lovely to see, some of you that I've known and met before. Some of them, maybe for the first time. And the whole Sharawa from the Foster Center, Center Foster is here. So yeah, today's topic, how can we transform, our mental, emotional pain, sufferings, to something more healthy, more positive, joy, happiness, from the point of view of Buddhism, we all know that, during all these centuries, we have made a lot of progress in technology and many other areas of material things. With that, it has reduced many of the physical pains, physical sufferings that a lot of others who didn't have those resources in the past and who had to suffer a lot of physical discomfort, pain, and suffering. But with all this development, it has reduced many of those pain and sufferings. At the same time, I feel like the mental pain and suffering, emotional, has increased. You know, it's that's how I feel like in our modern world. You know, even though we have less because of all the access we have to better medical access, medicine, cures, better educations, maybe job that you don't rely on so much physical hardship and so on. You know, I think there's less, but at the same time, it feels like there's people. There seems like there's more problem with their depressions, more and more problem with their depressions, more and more problem with people who are having self-loathing, self-hatred, self-doubt, and more frustrations, impatience, being more and more impatient, feel like people are being more and more impatient, more easily frustrated, more stress, more worry, more anxious, more fears, all this more kind of mental, not the physical, and not only because of those mental states, because there's more stress on mental level, because there's more fear and worry and all of that, then it put also stress on your body. And then, also on one hand, we had, because of all this better, external conditions, we have better resource. At the same time, also, we have more physical, different problems because of a lot of stress and all of that. And those stress coming from the mind. And that is, we are making progress on one, and then it seems like we are going in on another area, we are going almost like downwards instead of progressing and going in the, right. That is sometimes I feel. And I feel it's because from the very young, in this our materialist world, too much, it is the educations at the school, it is education at the home, it is the influence of the society that has influenced people's mind, and due to changing their mindset, because we become too materialistic, too much materialistic. Focus is given too much on all the materials, and not much focus is given on the emotional, mental health, and the mind itself. There isn't much education on that on schools for the children. There isn't much emphasis at home on that. And there isn't much emphasis on the society that we live in. Is all emphasize, focus on material things. So, and so then that's what happens, people doesn't know, because they don't know how to deal with those emotions. They don't have the tools to deal with those emotions. And so when you don't have the tools and the method and way to deal with those different emotions, different methods, then we have problem from that. The society, individually, and all as society, because the society is made of those individuals. And those individuals who have a lot of mental issues, health, emotional issues, because they don't have the tool to deal with many of those. You know, they don't know how to confront, how to deal, and so then there's more and more individual of that, and then that affects the whole society as well in so many different ways. And we have, you know, those mental, emotional issues, you know, whether it's self-doubt, you know, self-hatred, self-loathing, you know, too much fear, worry, anxieties, you know, feeling too much of insecurities. And because of that, you know, insecurity in so many areas. You know, we are insecure about almost everything. You know, insecurity about relationship, insecurity about our financial situation, insecurity about our own health, insecurity about so many, the society, the world that we live in. You know, and because of so much of that, then of course it affects fear, worry, anxiety, panics, and all other, which have, you know, a lot of. And then with all this, then it lead to, you know, frustration, impatience, anger, and all other issues. That, and that is the one of the, it feels like we are dealing with that a lot. And it seems like it's getting almost like worse and worse in those areas. And from Buddhist point of view, we have all these different feelings that I just mentioned. It comes from what we call affective emotions or distracted emotions, such as whatever you call it, attachment, desire, you know, craving, state of being the mind, never being satisfied with what you have. No matter how much you have, we always want more and better or something else. You know, when you are heat, you want cold. When you have cold, you want heat. You know, when you are city, you want to be in quiet place. When you started a quiet place, you feel missing something. You want to be more. It's too quiet. You want to have more vibration. You want to have a little bit more happenings. And our mind keep on changing all the time, all like that. You know, not being happy and satisfied with what you have, where you are, always wanting better or something else, you know, something else. You know, we are not happy with our job and we want to find another job. And we feel like, you know, this is job not I enjoy. This is the job I enjoy. And once you start to have that job, then again you find same thing, you know. Then again we have complain about, you know, oh, I like the job, but the boss was not like good, or the job was nice, but this and this. So again, we are not happy and satisfied where you are, and always that is what, you know, we are unable to have this sense of satisfaction, joy, and true happiness, because we are always chasing after something all the time, always chasing all the time. Our mind, you know, the goalposts keep on changing. You know, I feel like I want to go up to here. Once you are here, you are not happy. I want to go to the next, and that goalpost keep on changing, and so you never reach where you say, I reach where I want to reach. It's always there, little further, always little further. It's like when you are climbing to the mountains, you know, you see this is the top. You reach top, oh, there's one mountain behind that that is higher, and you keep on, and you think this is the top. It's always like that. That's how, and because of that dissatisfied mind, whatever different term you might give, attachment, desire, craving, is one of the main cause of unhappy, dissatisfied mind. And we can never reach a point where you feel satisfied, happy, fully happy, joy, satisfied, until you are able to reduce and overcome that kind of desire, attachment, craving, whatever you call it. The external object itself cannot give you sense of satisfaction unless we change our inner mind. The external object can never give you satisfaction. And we have experienced that experience so far in our life. We were young, or if I can get, this job that much, and that if I can have a house, small house, I would be happy. But are we more happy than when we didn't have that? Not necessarily. Many of us have those what we didn't have before. Are you more satisfied? Are you more happy? Not necessarily. So we think, if I have a job that pays double of this, what I'm earning, and if I can have maybe a little better house, a better neighborhood, or, places you like, whether by the oceans, mountains, whatever you are in your idea or the best place to be, you would feel. But once you have that, again, same thing, because inside has not changed. Now the post of the goal changed, That is our experience. It's our experience. We have tried that so far in our life, and we haven't really found true sense of satisfaction and feeling of contentment, joy, and happiness. And if we keep on doing that, we'll never reach that state unless we actually work with our mind and try to reduce such attachment, desire, or craving. If we can reduce them, then definitely you will find more satisfaction, more contentment, more joy in your life, wherever you are, whatever situation you are in. And so that's one of the main source. And also that is one of the, so a lot of feeling of insecurity about all the things is because we're attached to all of them. We're attached. When we're attached to our health, then we feel insecure about our health. Because we are attached to being happy, perfect, healthy, and because of that, then we are fearful of being unhealthy, or because we are attached to our relationship, then we have fear and insecurity that things can go wrong. Because we are attached to our, our wealth, earnings, whatever, So again, we have fear, insecurity and fear of losing or not making enough. and so on. And because of that feeling of insecurity, a lot of fear, anxiety, in some cases, panic, when we don't deal it well and we don't have the right tools to deal with, then, all of that can arise. And same thing, we have attached to certain outcome or certain situations in our world, how we want to see the world to be. Do you get it? And then we have fear of not the world losing that, let's say, peaceful, harmonious, prosperities, all of that, in our mind, we're attached to certain how the world should be. And so the more attachment we have, the more insecurity, more fear we have of losing that. We suffer more. If you are less attached, you will have less fear, less feeling of insecurity. Thereby you experience less pain from that, of fear, worry, anxieties, insecurity. But that, if you are not attached, will you be kind of, not being attached doesn't mean being indifferent. We have to differentiate. Sometimes people misunderstand. Oh, if you are not attached to them, then that means you become indifferent. If you become indifferent, then you wouldn't take care of your health. You wouldn't take care of your relationship. You wouldn't take care of, of your financial situation. You wouldn't take care of the situation of the world. Doesn't mean that, without being attached, you might be more caring. To care and to take care of all of that, you don't have to be attached. Especially, certain high-level practitioners, bodhisattvas, who have no high-level bodhisattva, no attachment, or including those arhats, so who doesn't have attachment to all of that. Non-attachment, because of non-attached, they have less fear or no fear, worry, all of that, but they care more than ourselves. They care more than ourselves. They care well-being of each sentient being more than ourselves. They care the well-being of the situation of this world more than ourselves. And also, they also look after themselves very well. They also take care of themselves well. It doesn't mean that they become kind of, uncaring and not taking care of yourself or others. So I think, so we're talking about that, And the problem is with our modern materialistic world, there's so much focus on increasing the attachment instead of decreasing the attachment. That is the thing. That is why we have more problems. Education-wise, and everywhere you look, all the advertisements, all this, everything says, if you have this, your life will be better. You will be more happier, more success, this and that. And so, and then you started to believe that. You see from a very young age, that's what they have been kind of bombarded by the society, And so they feel like, I need all this, I need all of that for me to be successful, for me to be happy, to me to be prosperity, whatever, and then, they're driven to achieve to get all these objects and all of that. And it's all about chasing after them. And so attachment, more object of attachment, and then your attachment, there's more attachment. And when we cannot achieve those, we are very attached to which we want to achieve, then we feel, I'm failure. I'm not good enough. I'm failure because this is what I should achieve, and I wasn't able to achieve that. I must be, not smart. I must be, this and that, all of that, self-doubt arises. And slowly, self-hate, self-loathing, self-hatred arises. Because you feel, I'm the failure one. I'm not good enough. I'm failing because I'm not able to achieve all these things that I'm supposed to obtain. That is kind of where we are going, and we see that, because so much energies, resources, emphasizes put on that to increase the desire, attachments, craving, instead of decreasing them. And so basically the young people are misled that if I have all this, I will be happy. My life will be easier. My life will be confident. My life will be happy. And that they believe that. And with such strong belief, they try to achieve. And once, if they don't achieve, of course, they get devastated, feel like they are failure, be so harsh on themselves, or they do achieve all of that, then they still find there is some kind of empty in their heart. There's something there they're trying to find, the joy, happiness. They didn't find that, even though they have been able to achieve what they were driven to achieve, believing those, if I can achieve all of that, my life would be happier. Everything would be good. And then they find, and then they feel like they have been deceived, misled, misguided by the whole things. Then they become illusion. So as I was saying at the very beginning, there's so much emphasis on the external things and to increase the attachment, the craving, the desire instead of decreasing. So, in Buddhism, Buddha himself tried that himself at earlier his life as a prince. He had all the enjoyment that the prince can enjoy. And he found that wasn't giving him true joy, true lasting happiness, satisfactions. He tried everything himself, and he found that wasn't the case. So Then he went to the other extreme, which now sometimes we see people, also in our modern world, sometimes people are disillusioned with this materialist world, and then sometimes they go too extreme, and try to almost kind of punish themselves to some extent. And Buddha went through, after that, from that one extreme of extreme kind of luxury, extreme all of that, then he went to this so much extreme where he even didn't take care of himself so well in terms of taking of his, health, in terms of eatings, relying without much eating, without taking bath, without all of that. And then he became so weak and not strong. And then again, he couldn't achieve what he was trying to achieve. And then he understood the middle way. And that middle way across, not going in that was the way he found the real path and the path to achieve the enlightenment or realizations. And that is also what he taught, in everything, trying to find the middle way. Not only on the view, but also in our life, we need to find the middle way in everything, And so anyway, so in that, then, Buddha taught, one of the main source of our suffering and unhappiness and dissatisfaction is the attachment. Is the attachment. And of course, anger is another source, another source of internal, mental, emotional pain, sufferings, disturbance, agitations, where it can drive someone so crazy, when you have strong problems there, such as rage, I mean, you can see the news is, what people can do when in the moment of rage. People who have anger, issue with strong anger, rage, they destroy their own life, they destroy others' life. They take others' life, they take their own life. They destroy others' life of course, in extreme cases. But even in not extreme cases, even when we don't have very strong rage or strong issue with anger, but as long as we have anger, it has that same energy, that same violent energy. And that kind of violent energies, sometimes, of course, we express that violent energy of anger in the form of aggression of mental state, aggression in the form of speech, in the form of physical behavior and actions, and leading that for further destruction and more pain. But even when we don't behave, aggressively in some of our speech or in our actions, but when you have that energy of anger, it is an aggression inside. It is kind of the fire, the lava that can explode anytime. The energy is there. Even though it is not exploding now, but it could explode anytime. If we don't take care of it well, if we don't manage it, if we don't deal with that correctly, rightly. A lot of time it happens, the anger might not be very strong, but we build up one anger, another anger, another anger. And with the time, then it becomes big. And then one day it explodes, you know. And you don't know why did you explode. You didn't sometimes because what is kind of building up, you know, is being kind of suppressed, you know, and then you build up one after another, and then one day it comes you where you say, I cannot take it anymore. Then it just explodes. So again, it explodes because even is sometimes even not very intense and strong, but that has the same energy, you know. And so again, you know, that the as you know, the root of those anger and attachment is the ignorance. You know, basically, is rooted in that ignorance. So those are the, you know, and then on top of that, you know, then the self-centeredness or the selfishness. And those are the main inner source of our suffering and pain, especially emotional, mental pain and sufferings. You know, all others different feelings, emotion that I talked about, you know, fear, worry, anxiety, all of those, self-doubt, self-hatred, a lot of times the depressions and all those different, they all are rooted, a lot of times they are rooted in anger and in attachments. And those emotions are rooted in the ignorance. So those three are the main source of problems. And then on top of that, then, you know, the self-centered, the selfish, where we feel like, you know, we need to be the center of the world. You know, sometimes when we talk about it, I feel, no, I don't feel that way. You know, how can I don't feel that I need to be center of the world. I take care of others. I care other people. I care sometimes other people more than myself. We might feel that way, but if you really look, you know, why we get so easily hurt and upset when someone is disrespectful. You know, why is that? Why do we feel so hurt? And because that feeling of hurt, we get upset and angry. Why? Someone just wasn't so respectful. Why do we get hurt? Because our ego, our self, that self-centeredness, you know, that want to be treated like king, it feels like I wasn't treated that way. Well, you might think, you know, it's not about me. It's just being disrespectful. You know, I'm upset not because he or she was disrespectful to me, but it is just that being disrespectful. Check it out. Do you get upset and angry? Someone behave disrespectful to your enemy. Someone you dislike very much. Do you get upset, angry? No. Probably you might be feeling good. He or she deserves that. He or she needs someone like that. You know, you even try to encourage them, give them, oh, you should do that. You should be more strong. You should behave that way. You know. So with that, what does it show? It's not just because of being disrespectful. If you are upset because it's someone being disrespectful yourself or someone, you should be also upset with that when someone is disrespectful, someone you dislike very much, someone you don't like. whether you call it enemy or not, whether it's a personal, you have personal issue, nothing personal, it's just a leader, whom you don't like, you dislike, you have aversions. When some other persons become very disrespectful, that person, you don't get upset. You don't get upset. So what this is clear, it's not only about being disrespectful. If it's only about that, then we should feel the same way. Because someone is being disrespectful to someone. Because someone is being cruel and nasty to someone. Even though that person is more cruel and nasty, but still someone being nasty and cruel to that person. And who wouldn't be upset about that? It's interesting, isn't it? Sometimes we feel like I'm upset because someone is being very cruel, mean, bullying, isn't it? That's all we think. It's nothing to do with my belief, nothing to do with me, nothing to do. It's just that I cannot stand someone bullying someone. Isn't it? That is how we feel. But we don't feel the same way when someone bullies the person you dislike so much. It's interesting. And that shows is the selfish attitudes of self-centeredness is involved there. Even though sometimes it's hard to see that at the very beginning. Even we might not have any kind of personal relationship, but we feel someone, nice person, maybe we see, we feel that is nice person. We might feel that person is a good person because maybe, maybe we have similar view on things, we agree or have similar view on certain things. And so maybe we think all these nice persons, And so someone is bullying that person, we cannot stand, even though we don't have personal any relationship. And then we see someone who totally disagree with our view, who might have totally different view and different behavior, different action, different personality, different, characteristics that we don't feel and we don't agree, and then we feel that person not so nice person, and we have dislike towards that, and even aversion sometimes. And then when someone is not kind, mean, bully to them, and then we don't feel like we don't care so much about that. We don't feel the same way that we feel to other one. So it is not only about bullying, it's not only about disrespectful, not only about, being belittling, humiliating, whatever different that we were disturbed and upset by that. There is that part, but also it's something to do with our mind, how we feel about that person, how we feel about that person. It's actually more coming from that perspective, that side. So the more stronger ego or self-centeredness we have, the more self-centeredness, the more we feel that we should be respected, we should feel behave and look and take care of better, all of that, the more we are likely to be hurt by people not being doing that. the more you get hurt, the more you suffer. And the more you feel hurt, instead of saying getting hurt, I would say, the more you feel hurt, the more you feel upset and angry. But someone who doesn't have that strong, self-centeredness, and who doesn't have a strong expectation from being people nice to them, kind to them, praising them, liking them, being nice to them, kind to them, respectful, all of that. If they don't have that strong expectation because they don't have that strong self-centeredness, they get less hurt, feel less hurt. Someone doesn't do that, they don't get so easily hurt by that. Someone doesn't like you, you don't feel so hurt. Someone dislikes you, you can let it go easily without feeling so much hurt. Someone not so respectful, you can let it go easily without feeling so much hurt. Someone not so kind to you, you can let it go without feeling so much hurt. And without feeling so much hurt, then you don't also need to experience the suffering or pain of being hurt, and also not leading because of feeling hurt, then anger, upset, and different negative emotions arises because of that. And then creating another whole drama in your mind, another stories because of that, because you're upset and because you felt hurt by that person's attitude, behavior, action, whatever. Where does that come from? It's rooted in our ego, our selfish, self-centeredness, selfish. Those are the main, primary, the root cause of our suffering and pain. All the suffering and pain, especially our emotional, mental pain and suffering. So how to transform from experience, from being in that experience so much pain and suffering, how can we find more joy, more happiness, more peace? Is then by reducing those afflictive negative emotions, by reducing them. The less you have, the less you suffer. And the more joy and happiness you have. And when you are able to completely get rid of them, then you find, everlasting, true lasting happiness. Unlike now fluctuating, And so in order to reduce and overcome those afflicting emotions, then we need to develop, cultivate and develop the opposing positive mental states that can counteract those negative emotions. To counter, such as anger, hatred, resentment, grudges, ill will feeling, you need to cultivate sense of patience and loving kindness, compassion towards that object. When you are able to develop sense of patience, again, patience means state of mind you are not disturbed by that, to be able to keep your mind calm, peaceful, without being disturbed by that person's attitude, behavior, action, whatever that is. That is what we talk about patience. It's a state of mind, to be able to keep your mind undisturbed, peaceful. So when you are able to do those, the patient mind, when you are able to develop patient mind and loving kindness, compassion for that person, and more stronger, then whatever, anger, hatred, grudges, resentment, ill feeling we have towards that particular objects, will start to do decrease, decrease. And when that decrease, and when you have more stronger patient mind, loving kindness, compassion, then you have more inner strength, more inner peace, more joy. You find more joy, more happiness. When we have that, you don't get disturbed by all things that is happening around you so easily. And if you don't get so easily disturbed by what is happening around you and people and all of that, your mind is calm and peaceful and more joyful. Whatever you are doing, you can enjoy that more. When we don't find that inner, strength, peace and calm that come to that kind of patient mind, loving kindness, compassion, and when we have those, other opposing negative energies, then, every small things disturb our mind so easily. Small things. It doesn't have to be big issues. Very small things agitate you. Very small things trigger you. Very small things upset you. Everywhere you go, there's something that's upsetting you. You see something that is you are not happy and upsetting you. You just walk out and then you see someone maybe driving a certain way, you get upset and angry. Or someone parking a certain way, you might get upset and angry. Or you see someone walking in a certain way and looking at you a certain way and whatever, you could get upset and angry. Trigger your mind. So, so many things can make your mind upset, angry, and not being able to find the peace, inner peace and calm and the joy, So to find that, then we need to develop the opposite state of mind, and to do that, then we need to practice and meditate, contemplate, to develop those. We already have certain level of love, compassion, the seed of loving kindness, compassion, the seed of bodhicitta mind, the seed of patient mind. So we just need to take care of it. It's like there is a seed, you just need to nurture it. Like in a garden, you need to kind of take care of the garden. You need to, take the weeds, you need to water. And so in the same way, we have that seed that we can walk on, We all, the Buddha nature, we all have the seed of loving kindness, compassion, And so if we pay more attention and if we try to take care of that nurture, there is a potential to grow, in a limitless way. And through that cultivating in a limitless way, then we can overcome those inner negative forces. And that is through practice meditation, and of course there are many different practice and meditations, So much practice, sometimes we might be a little bit overwhelmed. So much to learn, so much to practice, so much, And one of the things that I like to share is you don't have to be overwhelmed by how much there is. You just have to learn different meditation techniques that work for you, and you just try to apply that. There are so many different practices. There are so many different meditations. There are some because different technique, different meditation, different practice are more helpful, effective, different sentient beings. I always give this example because when I first went to States, I went for a grocery shopping. I was overwhelmed. Not knowing which to pick up. I just wanted a salt. In Nepal or India, you just go shop, can I have a salt? That is it. I just wanted salt, and then there's so much salt. I didn't know which one to pick up, because I didn't know. And that is same with every things, salt, chili, masala, everything. There's so much to pick up. And I was a little bit overwhelmed, not being able to make decisions and not being able to know what to take, And so the best was take the cheap one. At that point. And then, but after some time you get used, you know what, and then you appreciate why they have so much collection. Why there's gluten-free, why there's no gluten-free, why there is all different, because different people's health or physical reaction is different. So different people need different those things. Same way, those practice meditation are same. It is not always same meditation for everyone as effective. Same meditation technique is equally effective for everyone in the same way. Same practice, not same effective for everyone, every mind. Sometimes certain different particular meditation technique doesn't suit someone, and then they try to use different technique, and that suit their mind, and that help their mind become effective their mind in dealing with whatever different negative emotions or practice. And so therefore, that's why there is. So anyways, I was talking about, we try to cultivate and improve and increase those positive state of mind in the practice. Meditation is the key. The bridge between intellectual understanding and experiential understanding, because we have a big gap at the moment. Big gap. Here we understand all of them. Many of us understand that we have studied, learned different practices, different meditations. Intellectually, we have understanding, but we don't have the experiential understanding. Because we don't have the experiential understanding, then it's hard to have a transformation in our attitude, in our mind. We get easily upset as we used to get before. Before we know all this technique, meditation, we easily get upset as before. We easily have attachment as we used to have. We easily get offended and upset by someone's action and behavior, just like before. Oh, that person was so disrespectful, or that person was so this and this. We get hurt so easily, like we used to get. So how come we have learned all of that and we know? How come we still feel that way same? How come we don't change? Because we have understanding here, not here. We don't have the experiential understanding. Only in here. We have the knowledge, collected all the information, knowledge. And so there's a huge gap And the meditation, the practice is to bridge that gap. And so that was, and of course, there are many different meditations, and even within, let's say analytical meditation, one type of meditation, there are many different, also different way of analyzing, different way of, using the analysis or, I know, in meditation to be able to have a strong realizations of, whether it's a patient mind, whether it's a loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta mind, and many others, And then, to saying in order to overcome, attachment, ignorance, we try to develop, the wisdom, cultivate and develop the wisdom, realizing, in terms of attachment, and both anger and ignorance, the wisdom, realizing the emptiness, the emptiness of the object of attachment, the emptiness of the object of anger, the emptiness of the object of ignorance, the object of, the emptiness of the object of your self-grasping or self-cherishing or self-centeredness and so on, so again to have that kind of understanding, spiritual understanding, then again meditation is important and key. Also, also the wisdom relies on the impermanent nature of object of attachment, object of anger, object of ignorance, everything. When you have this understanding, again, as I said, not just intellectual, but when you have this experiential understanding, you see everything is changing each moment, each second. At the moment, we can only see change after a long time when it's a more gross level. We cannot change, we cannot see the subtle level of change that is already happening. So we feel that nothing is changing. Do you get it? When you are having a, let's say we have a negative thought of someone, and that person is a bad person because of his attitude or behavior or actions, and we cannot see the change in that. And when we don't see it, then our dislike or aversion, anger continue or even increase. But if you already start changing, the change is already happening, you wouldn't have that strong aversion or dislike and anger as strong as now, because you already see the change is happening. The change is already started. And same thing with attachment, object of attachment. Whatever quality that you are attached to, attractive, nice, goodness, whatever you are attached to, it is already changes. It's like, to be able to see when the fresh, when the fresh flowers, when they just got from the garden, look so fresh, and we are attracted and attached to that freshness flowers. But when you are impermanent realization of that subtle impermanence, you see both decaying that flower and that freshness equally at the same time. We cannot see the decay. We see the decay after maybe 1 week. Sometimes, depending on the flowers, sometimes maybe 1 day, 2 days, couple of days. Some of them maybe after 1 week. Some of them maybe a little bit more. So when you started to see the decay, you are not attached to it. You are ready to get rid of it. So you are not attached to that anymore. So therefore, because you see both, is the decay has already started, and you already see that in that, and so you don't get so attached to that. because at the moment we cannot see the decay. We only see that much later. And when we see that much later, then we don't get attached to it. But we cannot see in the right moment because we don't have that realization of that subtle impermanent changes of moment by moment, that decays have already started, that disintegrating has already started. And also we wouldn't be so shocked later when something really fall everything apart in the gross level, because you already see happening and you already saw what is coming with your experience. For us, a lot of things we get unprepared, shock, surprise, things happening because we didn't see it coming, because we don't have that understanding, realization of that impermanentness of moment by moment, and that has already started. We always feel like it will start later, and it will start later, and always kind of later, and it's not now. It's like it's happened, but it's going to happen later, all the time. Every time it seems like it's later. So, of course, there are many others meditation that Buddha described or taught, in terms of dealing with also attachments, in the meditative on essenceless, essenceless of the object of attachments, there's no real essence in that object, that object cannot really keep, there's no real essence, it cannot really give you true happiness, even though our attachments seem to believe and kind of feel that if I have that object, that it will make me happy, satisfied, and make better. But again, if you really meditate deeply, profoundly, then you understand, that cannot, so you don't get misled and deceived by that feelings. Instead, even I feel it, but I know that it cannot really give me. And so slowly, even that feeling get reduced. So again, different practice, different meditation. And so that is how to transform from dukkha to sukha. And the key is the practice. Of course, like everything, we need to study, learn, but that itself is not enough to see the transformations. Then we have to apply what we have learned, what we have studied into practice, into meditation and practice. And then you can see that slowly, changes and transformations. And slowly, you don't get so easily upset. Slowly, you don't get deceived by all this, publicity and all this, advertisements, where it's, if you get this, it's, and feeling that I need that or this or that, and so you started to stop chasing after things all the time. And when you stop chasing them, you will find more satisfaction, more joy, more happiness, where you are, whatever you are, and wherever you are. Otherwise, you can never reach a point that this is, you live the most richest person in the world. He's chasing more than a lot of us. He's very unsatisfied. He wants to double what he had, making all the effort to double that. What does that show? It hasn't most reaches and how much it hasn't inside, no difference, still chasing, still dissatisfied, still unhappy. So it's clear sign by being a millionaire, a billionaire, even trillionaire, it's not going to make you satisfied, content, and feel like that I've enough, and feel security. Even there, that person is not feeling secure, just like the rest of us who have nothing compared to him. But in terms of that inside feeling, no difference. He's feeling equally insecure. He's feeling equally dissatisfied, equally feeling want to have more and unhappy. So therefore, all this, what it shows is true satisfaction, true joy, sense of content doesn't come from outside, how much you have. It is something that it needs to come from within, from inside. And once we pay more attention and once we learn to that, then you will be able to find more satisfaction, more joy, more sukha in your life. Okay, so that is all. Maybe I can take a couple of questions if anyone has any questions. If anyone has any questions, I can take a couple of questions. Yes, please.
What do you suggest? What do you suggest when that strong feeling of anger arises in you? What can we do?
Yeah. Well, I think as I mentioned, there are many different practice meditations, and we just have to try and see what works for you. For some people, let's say, reciting the mantra without compassion, Buddha Shakyamuni, a kind of visualization of, healing, cleansing, and healing of that energy, negative energy of that anger, whatever feeling that you have. Doing that kind of visualization and while reciting mantra and feeling that healing energy in that way. For some people, it helps that to reduce the level of the intensity of the anger in that moment. That for some, through practice of mindfulness, learning to be aware, mindful and aware of that feeling, but not getting involved. So you learn not to get involved. To give the fuel. A lot of time we have that feeling, then we get engaged with that, and then we started to give fuel to that feeling, and that is why that feeling lasts for a long time. But if we stop giving fuel to that by all different unnecessary thoughts and all these different, then it arises, but it doesn't last long. It's like a spark instead of becoming a fire. So for some people it can be helpful that too. And then definitely there are, of course, if we can meditate on emptiness, meditate on emptiness of the object of your anger, meditate on the emptiness of yourself who is angry and the anger itself. So again, that can be depending on how well we are able to do the practice meditations. If we can really do well, correctly, and being able to, when you do it without being distracted, fully there, your mind fully there when you do, then it can definitely reduce the intensity, the level of that, duration of that, even though it might not go completely with that one meditation, still in that moment, you can feel less the intensity, and you can let it go without dropping for long duration. But then after some time, it can arise. but you try to do that again, that meditation. But again, in that moment, you are able to kind of, kind of let it go to a certain degree. And again, maybe not completely gone, but again, something trigger, and again, that can go. But if we keep on doing that, and then, of course, when we reach a point where we have realization of that kind of emptiness, then of course, there's no more coming back of that emotion. But until we have that kind of realizations, it's like, a little bit like hide and seek, We do that meditation practice, it subsides, and then when we are not that meditation and something after some time and something triggers something and that emotion comes again. But whenever it comes, you try to apply that, and even when it doesn't come, you try to apply that meditation. And even when it doesn't arise, you actually try to bring it up. You actually bring it up instead. You bring it up and then try to do the same meditations. And so then slowly, then it doesn't trigger and it doesn't come again. So meditation on that could be helpful. And sometimes, meditation on samsara and nature of unenlightened beings can be helpful. What do you expect from unenlightened being? You cannot expect unenlightened being to behave like enlightened being. Unenlightened beings have all these emotions, just like ourselves. Ignorance, anger, attachment, fears, all of that. And sometimes those emotions, for whatever reasons, become very strong and overpower that person in that moment. And in that moment, then they behave and they act in a harmful way or in a certain way in that moment. And if we check ourselves, we are not much different. The only thing, sometimes people who have more power, they do the more damage with that. People who have less power, the damage is for yourself and a couple of people around you. It doesn't. But in terms of doing damage, in terms of the emotion is the same, the damage is the same, it doesn't reach so many people because you don't have that position to do that. But someone with a leader who has that power and the damage can be a lot. If they do good, they can do a lot of good because of the risk is much higher. If they do bad, then the distraction does much more people. But in terms of why they do it and how they do it, it's more or less same that we are. If we have same ignorance, same, ego, same attachments, same greediness, and if we have that power, we will be just be doing like them. Damage, same bigger damage, And so again, sometimes, it doesn't mean it's okay for them to do that. Do you get it? It doesn't mean it's okay for them to do that. It doesn't mean we give them license to continue to do that, But it's about not having a negative feelings. That's it. We can still try to disagree. We can still try to stop them from doing such a harmful behavior or actions, but with compassion, if possible. Even we cannot feel compassion, at least with more peaceful mind, patient mind, not with anger and upset. And so therefore, so such meditations that seeing, the fourth one, unenlightened, the less unenlightened, is like, a child who is learning to walk and very 1-2 years and trying to grab everything they see, trying to put everything in their mouth. So the parent had to be watchful all the time, because they see some marble, they will just take it, they can chop it, They might just play in a fire, they might play with the electricity, everything. You can't be upset with that. You just know that is a child just learning to grow. That's the nature of that child. They are in that state. Of course, you will be much relieved if they don't have to do it. You don't have to pay so much attention all the time, and also a lot of fear, because your fear that they might fall down, they can do something, hurt themselves. So there's more fear of doing that. You have to be so attentive all the time, and that takes a lot of your energies. You can't do many other things because you have to pay attention all the time, be there. If it doesn't have to do, but still, you understand that is the nature of the child growing, and that is who they are. So you become less upset, more patient. Same thing, unenlightened beings, that is the behavior of unenlightened beings. More enlightened beings does less of that. As child grow, they do less of that in relation to that particular area. Of course, in some area, there might be more disturbing data, but anyway, so yeah, and then also sometimes, meditate on samsara, nature of samsara. In samsara, there's nothing perfect, hoping for perfect is unrealistic, and you are always going to get disappointed. And I think that is one of the things. I don't know. I think in the West, I think there is this idea of everything can be perfect. Of course, even in Buddhism, everyone can reach a perfect state at a certain time, but we don't see perfect at the moment. But in the West, everyone expect them to be perfect, others to be perfect, the situation to be perfect, as though they feel like they should be able to control everything, and to be able to, just like because you are so used to turning the heater and what you call air conditioner to right what you want, how you want exactly, little bit. So that is we get used to that idea. Everything should be able to how I want to be able to, and so therefore I want everything to be perfect, the world to be perfect, everyone to be perfect, and I want to be perfect myself. And it is something. It's like expecting perfections and imperfections. And then that becomes source of disappointment and source of, disappointed with yourself because you find you are not perfect. And you expect yourself to be perfect. Disappointed with others because you expect them perfect, they are not perfect. Disappointed with the situation in the world because we want to see it perfect, but it's not perfect. And that also sometimes leads to a lot of more pain, suffering, disappointment, and all other many other feelings. So I think sometimes meditating on nature of samsara, samsara means imperfections. So we cannot expect perfect in the imperfections. Or, of course, slowly there is a potential to be perfect, and it can, with the time and practice, it can reach that, but not now. And so I think sometimes that can be also helpful. Okay, so maybe today I will stop here.